Are you an investor looking for private capital? Maybe you're a real estate investor who needs money for their next flip. Maybe you're running a syndication and you're looking to raise private capital to buy an apartment building or a commercial property. Have you ever thought about using retirement accounts, IRAs, and old 401ks as your private capital source? Before you do that, here are 5 considerations to borrowing private money. Why consider retirement accounts as a private capital source? Well, how about retirement accounts in the U.S. account for a tune of $30 trillion of U.S. wealth. And of that $30 trillion, IRAs, individual retirement accounts, make up close to $13 trillion. And they can all be used as a source of private capital. Now, how do you tap into this bucket? How you tap into this, or how current investors have been tapping into this since 1974, is through the use of self-directed IRAs. Self-directed IRAs are a great source of private capital. But before you borrow money from someone's retirement account, it's important to understand a few rules and take some things into consideration. Consideration number 1, understand the rules for IRAs. IRAs, and specifically self-directed IRAs, have certain rules applied to them. One of the main rules is that there are a list of what's called disqualified people. Disqualified people include the IRA owner, the IRA owner's spouse, the IRA owner's parents and grandparents, and kids and grandkids and their spouses. Those are considered disqualified people, and it's important to understand that you can't borrow money from those people's IRAs. But outside of that, it's fair game. So if you have a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a niece, a nephew, or just a capital partner that has money in a retirement account, then most likely you can borrow money from their retirement account. Once you've identified whose IRA funds you want to borrow from, your next consideration should be, what type of deal can you set up to create a win-win scenario? When you're using private capital, it's a relationship business. You need to court your borrowers, understand your borrowers, or understand your private capital investors, and make sure that you create a win-win scenario with that person. You could do all sorts of things with somebody's retirement account. You can use their retirement account as your lender, where it's a lender-borrower situation just like borrowing money from a bank. Or you can set up creative investments like a joint venture, where you're the sweat equity partner and somebody's IRA is the capital partner. Or you can do creative things like a shared appreciation mortgage, where you give a little bit of the equity back to your capital partner. Or do things like net profit notes. There's all sorts of different creative things you can do when you use private money, but make sure you understand that you need to create win-win scenarios between yourself and them. The third consideration is that you understand the process. Make it smooth and painless on your capital partners. Only about 5% of Americans even understand that they can use their IRAs in this fashion. Most people don't know they can use their IRAs to be a capital source, or be a lender to somebody like yourself who might be a real estate investor. Most people just think they invest in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So before you start asking somebody to set up what's called a self-directed IRA so you can borrow their money, maybe you should have a self-directed IRA so you understand how the process goes. Understand the timelines, understand the paperwork involved. But if you do that, you can find that borrowing private money from someone's self-directed IRA can be done in as little as 24 to 48 hours, but it always helps that you understand the process before you go out and you look for private capital. The fourth consideration is protect your lender's interest at all costs, even if it means you lose money on the deal. The reason I say that is because there's a lot of people that have been using private capital from IRA lenders, IRA capital partners for decades. The ones that last the longest in this business are the ones to make sure that they pay their lenders on time, and they pay them even if the deal goes bad. If a deal goes bad and you leave that loss on your lender or leave that loss on your capital partner, you may never have a capital partner again. But if you do right by them and you protect their interest, even if it means you have to dip in your own back pocket to make them whole, you'll find that your career in borrowing private money goes a lot longer. And the fifth consideration, the most important, is follow NuView. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure that you stay connected with us for more continuing education so that you understand how self-directed IRAs work, not only for yourself and how you can grow massive amounts of tax-free wealth within your own self-directed accounts, but then how you can take part in the other side of self-directed IRAs, which is borrowing private money from OPI, other people's IRAs, the $13 trillion that sits in there untapped. So make sure to follow us, make sure to subscribe, and stay tuned for more education, tips, and tricks from NuView Trust Company.